Having an excellent credit score can save you hundreds of thousands of dollars throughout your lifetime. But to get that score higher, some of you are doing things that are absolutely incorrect. Most people I talk to don't pay off their credit card statement each month because they think having a little balance on there is what's keeping their credit building. Carrying a balance on a credit card to improve your credit score has been proven as a myth. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau says that paying off your credit cards in full each month is actually the best way to improve your credit score and maintain excellent credit for the long haul. The reason the rich get richer is because they're utilizing these specific things that we're going to talk about in this video. And since they have such a high credit score, they get things cheaper, they can invest to get more profit, and they can borrow at a better rate to be able to make more money through their business. And then if you have a bad score, you can't really do much of anything. It'll be hard to borrow money if you really need it, hard to buy or even rent a car, and almost impossible to buy a house or even rent an apartment. And if a recession does come in 2024 or 2025, it's going to be those who have the lowest debt that make it out the best. Right now, we have the highest amount of credit card debt in America history with over $1 trillion in debt. In this video, I'm going to show you how much debt people actually have by age so you can see how you stack up compared to those in your age group. Then I'm going to give you a bunch of ways that you can actually increase your credit score very, very quickly. If you can do this while everyone else is going deeper into debt, that's how you're going to set yourself apart, and that's how you're going to eventually be able to get very rich. I'm Nolan Govea. My students call me Professor G, and I made this channel to make investing simplified. Now, looking at the data, we can see some very interesting things here. First is that it looks like consistently over the 3 years, Gen X and baby boomers have the highest amount of debt. This is probably because they have a higher overall income as well, and most likely more expenses associated with their lifestyle at that point in their life. Millennials are very close behind. The thing I found most interesting here, though, and a little scary, is the trajectory of average debt each year for each age group increases. Knowing that the debt is increasing on average every single year, if you can just make it a point to be debt-free within the next year or 2 years, you're going to be so far ahead. By getting out of debt, you're going to show to a lender that you're trustworthy, and this will be a huge indicator when issuing your credit score. A higher credit score increases the trust signals you send to lenders that can translate to lower cost in the form of getting their best interest rates, promotional offers, and rewards features. So first, let's see where people are as far as average credit score by age, and then how you can increase that score ASAP. The FICO model of credit scoring puts credit scores into 6 categories. Very poor, which is 300 to 579, poor, 580 to 600, fair, 601 to 660, good, 670 to 739, very good, 740 to 799, and exceptional, above 800. Looking at the chart of averages, we can see that Gen Z on average is a 680, Millennials about 690, Gen X 709, Baby Boomers 745, and the Silent Generation 760. Credit scores are calculated using information about your borrowing, like your credit utilization ratio, the number and types of accounts you have open, and your repayment history. All of that information is drawn from your credit report, which has a detailed borrowing history gathered by 3 major credit bureaus, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. There are 2 main credit scoring algorithms, known as FICO and VantageScore. While each one uses a slightly different calculation, your scores should generally be within a similar range. So now here's exactly how your credit score is calculated, and an added bonus will be exactly the weight as to which one of them is actually bigger and more important for you to focus on. But first, I want to thank the sponsor of this video, Kalshi. There's finally a way to bet and trade directly on events that directly relate to companies, such as what inflation will be, or interest rates, or whether TikTok will be banned, or how many cars Tesla will deliver this quarter. Kalshi, which was founded by 2 MIT engineers, is the first legal financial exchange in the US where you can bet on any event. It's basically like the New York Stock Exchange or the NASDAQ, but instead of investing in stocks, you can invest or bet on things that you actually know about and care about. This is how it works. works. Let's say you believe the Fed will make a rate cut by June 2024. It's currently priced at 53%. You can buy shares of Fed rate cut by June for 55 cents each. The price changes based on what the market thinks the odds of the event are. Let's say you want to buy 100 shares. You pay 55 cents times 100, which equals $55. If there's a rate cut before June of 2024, you get $100. If not, you get $0. You can also sell your shares before the results come in. If the share price goes to 80%, you can sell the 100 shares for $80 and make a profit before the event ends. And Kalshi has so many different markets to be able to bet on, so you'll definitely find one that you actually are interested in. You can sign up using my link down in the description below, and the first 500 traders are going to get a $20 credit to their account. Check it out and let me know which one you're betting on. So how to build that credit score up. Now when I meet with my classes on the first day of class, I go over the syllabus, but more importantly, I go over what it is exactly that they need to know to be able to set them up for success. I tell them what I care about when I grade, how I want things done, and how ultimately they're just going to succeed. For your credit score, here's basically how you're graded. Number one, you're graded on your credit usage or the amount used. So if you have a $5,000 limit and you're always going to that $5,000 limit, you're using a lot of credit. Next way you're graded is the age of your credit account. So how long have you had a credit card, or how long have you had these loans? The next one is a credit mix. Do you have just one credit card? Do you have a couple credit cards? Do you also have a mortgage loan and a car loan? What types of credit do you have? The next way that you're graded is based off of new credit accumulation. Are you always opening up new cards, or are you getting out new debts? Usually that's going to bring down your score if you have too many. And then last but not least would be payment history. Are you making your payments on time? So it's good to know what's actually making your score, but even more important to know the weights. Which one of those is the most important? Which one should you prioritize the most, or at the very least, just not mess up? And then after that, I'll give you some quick tips on how you can actually increase that credit score. So number one is going to be payment history, and that's the biggest at 35%. Next would be the amount of credit owed, and that's at 30%. So just in those first two right there, that's already 65% of your score. So if you're not making payments on time, and if you're using up too much credit, that's gonna really affect your score, and it's gonna be very hard for you to bring that thing up without doing those two right. Next is the length of credit, or how long you've had your credit accounts, at 15%, then the credit mix at 10%, and then new credit accumulation at 10%. So here's some tips on how you can actually increase your credit score. Number one would be making all your loan, credit card, and other monthly payments on time. This one's obviously the biggest, the most important. Make sure you don't miss a payment. Pay off debts and bring past due accounts current. Next would be to pay your credit card balances in full each month. This one is essential because it not only affects the one about payment history, but it also affects the one about credit usage. If you're keeping a balance on your credit card and then you're continuing to add to that, that's just adding the amount of credit that you're actually using. And that's messing with that 30% category. The best way to increase this section is to keep your total credit utilization under 30%. You can do this by two ways. The first way is by understanding what your credit limit is and then just keeping it down under 30%. So if your credit limit on your credit card is $5,000, don't put more than $1,500 on there without paying it down first. The other way to keep that credit utilization low is to actually ask for and get granted a credit increase. So if you increase it to $10,000, then you can use up to $3,000 while keeping it under that 30% still. Please be honest with yourself, and if you know you just don't have much self-control, and if you were to increase that credit limit, you're just gonna use more credit, that's just not smart, and I would highly recommend that you just stick with number one on that one. Next would be avoid applying for new credit unless you really need it, and keep unused credit accounts open. That last one is really big. A lot of people get very excited when they finally pay off that credit card that's been haunting them for 3 or 4 years. And what they do is they pay it off, they cut it up, and they cancel the account. By doing that, that messes with your credit history, and that now makes that section that's worth 15% super weak, because now you have less history because you closed your oldest account. So just keep it open, and even if you don't use it, just don't close it. When you have a good credit score and solid financials, you can put yourself in a position to be able to do things that nobody else is going to be able to do. To see which are the best savings account to be holding your money, especially in that high yield savings account, check this video out. And to see how to supercharge your money fast and invest in the most easy, simple 3-fund portfolio out there, this is the video you're going to want to watch next.